All right. Good evening, colleagues. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Meeting.
You can hear me clearly.
Yes, very well, sir.
Do
Yes.
I witness?
Being
All right.
recorded.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so welcome. Welcome everyone to the third week of our course, Reproducibility in Scientific Research. I still remain your humble servant, joining you from Sweden here right now. And I know some people are just joining the course today. Well, we can't say don't join, but you know that you are joining late too. The second thing is that we start 5 p.m. GMT. All right. And I can see on the WhatsApp some people who wait for 2 hours. So that is a clear signal that some of those in this course don't actually know when we start. Some don't know when we start. Have we given enough information? Yeah, we have. We have even given more information that you need. And I think you can all agree to that. So please flow in the same spirit with us. Flow in the same spirit. Flow in the same spirit. You can't waste your data waiting for 2 hours when the course has not started. You can't do that. All right. So you can't do that. It's not allowed. What you do is you go through the emails you have received on the organization of the course so that you can flow. The third thing I would like to say is that you can see some of you are intentionally disturbing us. You can see intentionally disturbing us. You're not meeting your mic. All right. So we have said it. What we do to those who refuse to meet their mic is to remove you, and then you can join. One person is already removed now. So once you join, meet your mic. We shouldn't be saying this every time we meet. Join, meet your mic. Join, meet your mic. It's as simple as that, so that we have seamless class. Okay, so let's start. Some people are practicing economics here, which is good. They call it opportunity cost. A choice made for one item leads you to forgo the other item. And so some people are saying AFCON. Okay. Anyway, you have been watching AFCON for ages. This course is only maybe once in your lifetime. You may not take it again. Well, so practice your economics very well. All right, so today we'll be looking at steps to reproducible research, key initiatives towards reproducible research, and reproducibility at each stage, each research stage. So those are the things we will be looking at this evening. I hope you can hear me. Some people are complaining they can't hear me. I hope everyone can hear me. Do you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Great.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Audible enough?
Okay, so just to remind you of the things we promised to be doing in this course to enhance learning, to allow us to grasp the materials that we have for this course. So each of these activities is important. Each of these activities is important. So please take part in them. Take part in them. Don't run away. Or is there any activity you don't like here? Is there any of these activities you don't like?
Yeah, we simple challenge.
Is there any of these activities you don't like? Which of them you don't like? Clara, you say you don't like some. Okay, nothing. You're saying yes to. Okay, you're hearing me. Is there anything you don't like of these activities? The breakout sessions, the case studies, the group projects, the nugget. You like all of them. All right. So work hard. I believe that in the end of the course, you appreciate each of them more. All right. The things we have covered, we have looked at the problem that is there in science, reproducibility, crisis, and we posed the issues that some authors have highlighted. John Ioannidis published in 2005 a paper saying why most published research is false. And last week, we posed a question to ask you, is that true? Is that your experience? And there was a resounding yes, that is the case. All right. And then we went through to see also from the field of psychology, which they describe the scenario we have that everyone thought that scientists are some of the good guys out there. But with the rise in fraudulent activities, in misconduct, then there is a disheartening disheartening appreciation of what science is all about. And they conclude that we are in the era of bad science. All right? We went through a number of misconduct, fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, authorship, conflict of interest, issues of ethics. When we go against these issues, then misconduct arises. Okay, last week we also went through the ethos of scientific research as proposed by Robert Martin in already 1942, where he says there are 4 core values of science and scientific research: universalism, communality, disinterestedness, organized skepticism, stating that research is not a personal commodity. And so when you come to do research, then every personal identity, political identity, every attachment you have should be removed. There should be an exclusion of personal interest, because it is a task that is beyond you. It's not about you. So scientists are people who set out to produce findings that will friend the society. So every personal attachment needs to be excluded for it to be properly done. It's a universal commodity. All right. So anybody can be trained into doing it. Anybody can come into that space and perform. Okay. So communality is not something for one man or one woman. It's something that we put our hands together. We collaborate, we network. Because there is one goal we have, regardless of the discipline you are into. We are all pursuing the same goal. And that is to use the God-given resources we have, the God-given wisdom, knowledge we can derive coming into this world to play roles that will enhance our lives. Whether you're a theologian, whether you are expert in administration, public or private administration, whether you are a core pure scientist working in the lab, whatever you are, we are all pursuing the same goal. And I hope you agree with that. But the problem is that we have seen ourselves to be different. You see, we have seen ourselves to be different. That is why we have conflict that we can't work together. And I'm happy that in this course, and in every ASFI course, we don't look at your discipline to group you. We make groups in a way that people can join each other. If you are joining now and you don't have your mic muted, please do so before we send you out, because we will. If you don't have your mic muted, please do so because we'll send you out. Thank you. All right. So we need to understand that we are all pursuing the same goal. Even though I know that many people who are doing research don't actually know, don't actually understand, have not even come across it, that their research is meant to make the society happy. Rather, people are pursuing promotion. People are fighting to get promotion. And that leads to all kinds of fraudulent activities going on. But we have really an ultimate goal. And I hope that we can stay in line. And then we went through case studies of reproducibility. Each group presented their case studies. And I think this was a sober moment to see how crafty some of us, who were the coach of researcher, who were the coach of scholarship, how crafty we can become. You know, I don't know, you know, in this world of AI, these guys can really predict your internet usage, you know, to see what are the things. So I searched this Paolo, what's his name? This Italian case study we had, who was in Sweden, and so because I was searching that a few weeks ago, so yesterday I just saw that on my YouTube, they have actually made a movie about him. All right, there is a movie about that kind. They call him Dr. Death. So that is the name of the movie or something. So I saw it in a flash. So wow. You see? To the extent that we become bad examples. We become bad example. And that is disheartening. The society now makes joke of those who are the eyes of the society, who watch over the society to provide solutions to the challenges the society has. All right. We also talked about the economics of irreproducibility and showed that in the US, for instance, a study was made to calculate the amount that is spent just at the preclinical research stage, in which billions, tens of billions are spent, are wasted in producing research that is not reproducible. All right? In producing research that is not reproducible. I think up to $25 billion each year, which means that such amount of money is wasted. $25 billion. I don't know which African country has a budget of $25 billion a year. That is the amount that is used to produce research that is wasted. That is pathetic. All right? And irreproducible research can bring different impacts, consequences. Economic, research, the society, trust for science reduces quite a lot. All right? So that was the things we went through last week. I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts before we move on. Just raise your hand. Questions? All right. So let's move on. Yes. You have this now already. I have been given the signal to move on. The goal of this project is to implement all we have been going through. This is the third week, all we have been going through. And today we will highlight some aspects you need to take note of. Okay, we'll highlight some aspects you need to take note of. So please, the groups that have received approval for their project, please move on. And then there was a question. We thought that we were asked to produce research questions, and then we will formulate into research topics and so on and so forth. I don't know where there is a confusion in this. When we say research question, we're not saying that you should make a statement that has a question mark at the end. That is not what the research question is. Almost all the groups, except one group, formulated a research topic or research objective or research aim or goal. Well, except one group, almost all the groups formulated a statement that they had a question mark at the end. Yes. because I mentioned research question. So people think that research question is, you formulate something, you put a question. That is not what it means. Research question means what you want to do, your topic, your research goal, your research objective, your research aim. So you take that questionnaire, what do you want to do there? That's what it means. Well, I didn't complain about it, but I'm just mentioning it because there was a statement on the WhatsApp somebody was saying. So if you don't know that, you have to know. So when you're asked to provide your research question, it means what do you want to do? What do you want to do on that topic? You can formulate as an aim, or objective, or goal, however you want to do that, or even a question. Okay? But it's an umbrella term that describes what you set out to do. So when we received the questions you have formulated, we had to now formulate them as a topic, objective, as you can see on the screen. So please move on. Move on in your pursuit and take those steps that have been highlighted. All right? Take those steps that have been highlighted. Group 7, we're still waiting for you for clarity on what you actually want to do. So please do that so that you can follow others as they proceed. Does anyone have any question related to this project? Any question? All right, it's all clear. Good. Okay, group 3, we need your nugget. Group 3 is your turn for your nugget. So
Okay,
please.
good evening.
Good evening.
I'll be presenting the nugget for group 3. Do I have the permission to share my screen?
Go ahead.
Slideshow. Oh, sorry. Slideshow from the beginning. Oh, sorry, what's happening here? Okay, please, can you all see my screen now?
We can see your
Hello.
screen. Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yes, it's fine.
All right, so I'm Dr. Israel Ebohime, and I'm presenting the nugget for group 3, something that we all put our heads together and came up with. Our nugget is titled Reproducibility in scientific research is not only a matter of confirming results, it's also about building a foundation of trust and reliability within the scientific community. This aligns with what John Ioannidis, which our host, Professor Nwaro, has referred to over and over again, who said it's not just about getting results, but we must deliberately present enough information to ensure that that particular research can be reproduced. So for definition of term, the word reproducibility in our group, we coined it in our own way, and we said the ability of conducting a research in a way that the results can be obtained over and over again, either by same authors or by other people, as long as they are following the methods that have been reported. Just a minute, I need to move this thing off my screen. It's blocking me. Okay, so the importance of reproducibility in scientific research of building trust. Why is it important? Number one, credibility. Because of time, I'll just take the highlights, and then I'm sure we can easily follow the other aspects. The second point there is transparency, then knowledge verification, like the case studies we saw last week. Most of those breakthrough researches were quite significant, but the unfortunate thing is that they could not be verified. Then another very important reason for reproducible research is the need to foster a culture of collaboration among researchers. Then finally, we have here building public confidence. So we highlighted a few steps to reproducing a research, and the 7 points as presented. We have first, proper documentation. Everything used, like John Ioannidis said, everything, because some researches may require, because of certain conditions, some slight adjustments. Everything must be properly documented. Then we have, there should be good quality control, both for the instruments, the materials, and the equipment. There should be standardization also of materials, of course, and the equipment, every other parameter that is involved in research. Organization of tasks, that's another very important factor in terms of being able to reproduce a particular research. Validation, which is what we have already said, using standard protocols to ensure that whatever methodology is being tested is valid and can give the desired result. Then a positive psyche, then a concise documentation for publication. So it should be, no matter how elaborate the work is, during publication, enough of that information should be presented in a concise manner such that it can be completely useful to the scientific community. So key initiatives towards reproducible research. First, there should be an effective or an efficient data documentation process in the course of the research. And then there should be no need for verbal overshadowing effects. Data collected should be quantifiable, and then there should be some kind of interaction between the members or the collaborators. And then, novel areas must be properly captured so that it does not mislead the scientific community. Challenges and limitations, of course, every research, no matter how much we may want to say must be reproducible, already have some challenges ahead that may limit the possibility of completely reproducing it. A few of such is one, lack of resources. And this has been highlighted, especially for us in this part of the world, which is the focal point of this discussion. Then variability in experimental conditions. Simple parameters, for example, for us in the sciences like temperature, heat, humidity, all of these could be factors. So they must be taken note of. Then technological advancements. For example, we could say spectrophotometry. There are several grades, there are several quality capacities and what have you. So if one lab is using a better quality, they may get a better result compared to another lab who is trying to reproduce what has been previously done. We have also another factor, proprietary information. In cases where you have patents or some other kind of scholarly work that the authors may at the time have access to, people who want to reproduce do not have access to such information. And then the other part is, which is the interdisciplinary collaboration. It may be a challenge if another lab or another set of researchers want to carry out, see if or validate a previously conducted and matches the capacity and experience quality of the original authors to be able to achieve that. Then some ethical considerations of irreproducible research, misuse of resources. And our convener already highlighted that this evening, about $25 billion on research that cannot be reproduced. That's misuse of resources. Then misalignment with scientific integrity. Scientists owe the public integrity. So once our research is not reproducible, we are already misaligned. Then we have potential harm, just to the general public. We use patients and communities here specifically if it's in the case of discipline medicine, where wrong results may be translated to wrong treatment protocols and what have you. Then we have breach of trust between scientists, society, funders, and so these are some ethical considerations of irreproducible research. Then we'll now look at the impact of irreproducible research on the progress and credibility of scientific knowledge. Number one, erosion of trust. It undermines the confidence of the public in scientific findings. We have also stagnation of knowledge. So if by a omission or commission, there is a repetition or somehow a research that is of no value in terms of it's not reproducible, but somehow it's just going on. You just have everybody stuck at a particular point and then it goes almost nowhere. Then resource wastage. We have the time of the people who are trying to either reproduce that work, the funds, like we already mentioned, and then all the resources that go into such processes. Then there's also diminished credibility. And finally, implications for applications, because the results ordinarily are supposed to be translated to applications for humanity. But if they are not reproducible, then that transition is compromised. So strategies to improve reproducibility in research. First, there should be open access to data. Like we already highlighted just now, if in the case of a proprietary data where only the author has that information, it becomes difficult for other researchers who are trying to either validate. And once the data is completely out there, it boosts transparency and trustworthiness. This example was also highlighted by some members of this group or of this class last week, where they said some professors or some lecturers don't talk to anybody, but all of a sudden they have publications, they get promotions and what have you. So there's this lack of transparency in that kind of approach. Then we have detailed methodology, pre-registration of studies. So if a research plan is, or a research to be conducted, the plan should be submitted to a committee to scrutinize, and then all of that kinds of brings in more, should I say, more knowledge, if I can use that word now, into the planning, so that some errors, some biases are observed from different angles, and then all of these are taken care of to ensure that the final result is as expected. Then we have also replication studies. Even though we have been told that replication is almost impossible, but in the context of research, it is still important to keep that in mind. Then another strategy is to look at peer review standards. Peer review standards. Now we'll look at how institutions and funding agencies can promote reproducible research. So as part of their funding requirements, they should specifically state that such information should or will be provided when money is being released for this research. Then training and education. Researchers must get training on data management, statistical analysis, and best practices, recognition and rewards. So researches that are conducted are validated and useful to the society. There should be some kind of acknowledgement or reward to motivate the scientists. Then we have also research infrastructure. There must be a deliberate attempt, deliberate investment to improve infrastructure. The role of peer review, we have seen the role of institutions and fund agencies. Peer review also will play a very important role in terms of ensuring that scientific findings are reproducible. So we look at quality control and methodological scrutiny. So when researchers submit manuscripts, there should be a deliberate interest in the methods. We have also identification of flaws, the study design. Is it biased? The data analysis, was it properly done? With the
Group number 3, I will stop you now. Your time is past.
Okay.
Now you are taking us a whole lot lecture. You still have lots of things to present today. So just conclude and let's move on.
Okay, so conclusion. Every researcher should tackle reproducibility issue empirically, and all of this is geared towards strengthening the scientific process across all fields. Thank you, and here are our references.
All right, so thank you. Just to mention that the nuggets are 5 minutes. So make sure you summarize your point and give us the highlight of the presentation. All right, just to mention, please, if you have not put your group number to your name, do that now. Do that now. All right, do that now, so that we will be able to accommodate you when you go to your breakout sessions. So for next week, this will be shared on the platform after this class, but just to let you know, you have task each group to do to progress your group work. All right, so please take note once you get that information from the WhatsApp later on. Okay, now I will send you out. Take a picture of what is on your screen. Take a picture of what is on your screen, and then you also get it on the WhatsApp. It's not posted on the WhatsApp. Take a picture. You have 30 minutes to discuss. Last week, we looked at the case studies. Each group presented their case studies. All right? Some of them are really pathetic. Okay? Some of them led to different consequences. Some researchers died, they killed themselves. Some patients were affected because of the evidence generated by the bad research. Money is wasted, and so on and so forth. So it should be a reflective time for us. And I want you to take your time to outline what are the causes of research misconduct and irreproducible research. What are the causes? What, in your opinion, are the causes? Make a list of potential causes within your group, all right? Rank the causes in order of their impact. So the first one should be, which is a worst cause, or the most important cause of research misconduct, and then rank them according to that importance. All right? And once you have made that from the global perspective, global mindset, bring it down to Africa. All right? Do research misconduct exist in Africa? You can see all the case studies we presented last week were from outside Africa. All right? We do not have really an evidence we can say, okay, this is what happened in Africa. Does it mean that it doesn't exist in Africa? It doesn't exist. But if it does, what types of misconduct are there? To what extent are they misconducts? So make a list from the global perspective, and then bring it to Africa to reflect on what is happening in our continent. So please take note of that. I will send you out now, and in half an hour I'll bring you back. If you have not put your group number to your name, please know that you have a problem now, because we can't assign you. We can't assign you to your group. So I'll open the rooms now, and the time starts counting. Yes. Put your group number to your name, then we'll assign you. So those that have been assigned, you can join your group already now. So see you in 30 minutes. All right, welcome back. Let's go to group number 1. Please, those speaking for the different groups, raise your hand so that I can recognize you. Group number 1, tell us what you have. But I would like you, I'm not sure how you made the list you have made. At the end of today, each group should post their list as maybe a PowerPoint or a PDF on the WhatsApp platform. All right. Okay, group number 1, please tell us what you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Beatrice. I'll read for you what we did as group 1, then we shall type and post on the group later. So causes of research misconduct, financial benefits and reward. Number 2, popularity and fame. Number 3, promotions. Number 4, to win grants. Number 5, to acquire collaborations. Number 6, pressure to publish. And lastly, lack of required skills. In the African context, do we have research misconduct? Yes. Type of misconduct: number 1, plagiarism. Number 2, data manipulation. Number 3, falsification of results. 4, fabrication. 5, authorship. 6, misrepresentation, claiming publications that are not yours. Number 7, supervisors taking students' work to be their own. Another one was use of other people's research without proper referencing, and also publishing one paper in different journals. To what extent are the misconducts? We thought that they are at an alarming rate and they're widespread but undocumented most of the time. How do we find out about these misconducts? During proofreading, if we can't replicate or reproduce the research, during reviewing of the data, and during monitoring of experiments in the lab. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, group number 1, for that. Yeah, the list you read, the first list you read, was that put in ranking form?
Yes, that is how, yeah, that
Okay.
is how we ranked them.
All right, group number 2, Pascal.
Yes, permission to share our slides. We put something together so that everybody can follow. If not, I can just read what we got.
Go ahead and share your screen. Go ahead and share your screen.
So during the breakout sessions, answering the questions that you posed, what are the causes of research misconduct and irreproducible research? This is what we got in terms of impact. So poor supervision and mentors, the lack of rigor in the review process, lack of research knowledge, laziness, and lack of passion in terms of performing research, lack of awareness of the consequences of research misconduct and irreproducible research, to reduce the publish and perish mentality, if the researcher has lack of integrity, or they're thinking about it, we're getting money from grants and not doing the work itself. And then the competition of funding, getting funds and grants. People may falsify work and research just to obtain grants and funding, and the quest for fame in this era whereby we are looking to have published something novel. People may falsify things so that they can be the first to reach there. When it comes to Africa, in terms of research misconduct, yes, it exists in Africa. The types of misconduct that we could find out was plagiarism, whereby you can not give credit to work that you used or borrowed in yours, falsification and fabrication of work and results, authorship theft. Someone has published their work, but then you steal it and then publish it first. Duplication of publication results. So you publish one result in one journal and then you go and publish it in another journal. Lack of confidentiality, whereby you also breach patient confidentiality and borders in ethical misconduct. So to what extent are these misconducts? What we feel is widespread, but is hardly reported. And ways in which you can find these misconducts in Africa is having a more stringent peer review process that will help see duplicated work and see whether research methods have been used before. Honesty in reporting misconduct, especially if you're collaborating and you think one of your collaborators are not doing the work well, or they are cutting corners, it is your responsibility to also report them. So honesty in reporting misconduct. And also arming yourself in research methods so that when you're reading research or any article, you can appraise it critically and see whether there was some misconduct or cutting of corners. So this was one of the references in which we had, and it looked at that some researchers also admit having conducted, being involved in some scientific misconduct. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Group number 2. Who is presenting for group number 3?
I am. Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Yeah, we do not have slides, but I'll just read from what I have here. So for the list of potential causes within which we discussed, we highlighted 10 points, and based on ranking, number 1, we have personal ambition, then 2, research integrity, number 3, conflict of interests, 4, institutional policies and the pressure to publish. Number 5, we have falsification and fabrication. Number 6, lack of awareness or training on the part of the researcher. 7, faulty equipment and expired laboratory consumables. Number 8, qualification for grants, and then 9, plagiarism, and then 10, we have a poor research environment. On the other part, what about Africa? For the question, if research misconduct rather exist in Africa, we agreed yes. And what types? Various, and we listed from plagiarism, we have falsification, fabrication, and then qualification for authorship. Some authors don't really contribute, but somehow their names get into some papers. Then for the third point, to what extent are these misconducts? We agreed that it cannot be directly quantified, but even though it is not so, it is to some extent widespread. How do we find out about such misconducts? There should be some kind of institutional approaches to help check, and then in-house peer review, maybe within the department or within the research group and things like that. And then the final point, research integrity. How do we find out? Yes. So those are the few points we highlighted, and then we'll make up the report and publish in the general group later. Thank you.
All right, thank you, group number 3. Yeah, group number 4.
Group number 4 here.
Please go ahead.
There's a barking dog in the background, apologies. So we looked at the same questions. The first point is, what are the causes of research misconduct? Our first point was pressure to publish, and also competition for funding. We had gift or ghost authorship. We had fame seeking. We had lack of peer review, insufficient ethical review, conflict of interest, usually financial, and then lack of oversight. We also had wrong and bad influence and plagiarism. For causes of irreproducible research, we had insufficient documentation, data manipulation, selective or inadequate reportage, lack of supervision, falsification and fabrication of results, and the wrong use of AI in research. AI is meant to be a useful tool in research, but sometimes, researchers can use it wrongly and legally to get some data and other things and make the research irreproducible. The next question was, do we have research misconduct in Africa? And we said that, well, we think that it's a universal problem. So our answer to that question is yes. We think that mainly data publication will be an issue, and plagiarism, and indeed self-plagiarism will also be an issue. But our final conclusion is that to make a comment on this, we will need evidence and to research further to make the point that we have research misconduct in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Group number 3. I've got 4. Group number 4. Not 4. Okay, I see Abdul for group number 5, please.
Thank you so much. This is Abdul representing group 5.
Go ahead.
So, on the first part, the causes of research misconduct, we used our case study from last week as the reference. So there are different causes, and we try to categorize the causes into individual, institutional, and cultural causes. So from an individual level, can be lack of training or insufficient knowledge in research, and there can also be an issue of integrity of the individual. Institutional causes can be due to no proper rules or guidelines on how to conduct the research, lack of supervision or mentorship while conducting the research, lack of validation mechanisms, which may be internal or external validation mechanisms, lack of collaboration between the researchers, and the quest for academic growth. Culturally, the causes could be the pressure to publish, the saying of publish or perish. So due to that adoption of that culture, people are under pressure to publish. And there's also the issue of valuing the quantity of publications over the quality of the publications, and also the credibility of the setting, whereby researchers done in the Western world are considered to be more credible than researchers done in other parts of the world. In terms of ranking, it is difficult to have a proper ranking due to an overlap between these causes, but based on our case study, we ranked integrity as the first cause. Then secondly was the desire for promotion, and thirdly was the lack of validation mechanisms for the research. Narrowing it down to Africa, the question that says, do research misconducts exist in Africa? We said yes, they do exist. What types of misconducts or forms of misconduct do exist? But the commonest one that stood out was authorship misconduct, where supervisors take credit for researchers that they did not contribute in. To what extent the misconduct? It is difficult to determine, as we have no database or mechanism of verifying these forms of misconduct. How do we find out about these misconducts? Well, it's multifaceted. There is need to come up with a proper peer review process, and also a mechanism of where the individual who was conducting the research realizes that someone plagiarized his research. There should be a reporting mechanism so that the individual can be able to file in a report, and then it can be taken up by a peer review committee to verify the misconduct. That's what we had as group 5. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Group number 5. Let's go to group number 6. Who is presenting for group number 6? Group number 6, are you there? Group number 6, are you there? Group number 7, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. For group number 7, last week our case study was in respect of Professor
Group
Rushton.
number 6, please. Group number 6, sir. We are ready. Sorry. Group number 6, sir.
Group number 6, wait, let's finish with group number 7. You have started. Group number 7, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, our case study last week was on Professor Rushton. You know, last week we said, or we observed some misconducts in his researches, amongst which we have not getting ethical approval for some of his researches. There were also conflicts of interest because there was a group funding most of his research, and at a point he became the head of that group. So the interest of the group was actually on racism, and they were funding that. They were funding his researches. We also observed a misconduct of plagiarism in some of his works. Plagiarism, falsification of results, and fabrication of results. And then the second part of it, whether those misconducts exist in Africa, our answer is yes, it exists. In Africa, we have misconduct such as supervisors taking students' work as theirs. We also have authorship misconduct, in which some people that didn't partake in the research are included as authors. And sometimes the main people that did the work were given the 7th, 8th, or even 9th position, whereas those that did little will take up the 1st position. We also have a falsification and fabrication of results, which is on the increase because of the publish and perish thing we have now in the academia. And also limited funding we have that make people to go and fabricate data and then use as theirs. We also have the misconduct of plagiarism in Africa. So this is our submission for group 7. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Group number 6, please. Please go ahead.
Good evening, all. For group 6, for potential causes of research misconduct, we agreed that lack of funding is number 1, because it leads to substandard use of substandard materials and methods. We have pressure to publish, which is overemphasized for researchers in research institutes and universities. We have ambition for fame, like our case study of Victor Enough, and lack of proper documentation. Pure MS says if it's not documented, it's not done. Then we have lack of cooperation from participants in the field. So some people, due to the fact that they are running out of time, will be forced to cook results. Limited skills due to lack of human development, lack of emphasis in capacity building. Then for whether it exists in Africa, we said yes, it does. And the misconducts include plagiarism, which is being helped with the era of AI. A lot of students will just go and plagiarize previous projects very fast and publish. Then fabricated data and falsifications. We have people not passing through ethical committee because of bureaucratic bottleneck processes. Authorship gifts and duplication of publications. And people who want to obtain grants, they want to falsify results and publish in popular journals. So what extent? There's little or no documentations to show what extent it is widespread. Therefore, how?
Okay, group number 6, I'll stop you here. Let's go to group number 8.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. For group number 8, I am Kapala presenting. So the first question, which says, make a list of potential causes of research misconduct and reproducibility in research. Rank the causes in order. So the order that we ranked is, firstly, the pressure to publish, the lack of funding, then comes the lack of proper training in research ethics. Another cause is the lack of proper supervision. Then also comes the poor record keeping, and the last on the causes of misconduct are overambitious researchers. Then regarding the question, what about Africa? Do research misconducts exist? Yes, indeed, research misconducts do exist in Africa. The types of misconducts that exist are falsification, fabrication, plagiarism, ethical violations, conflicts of interest, inadequate peer review, and selective reporting, as well as authorship issues. To what extent are the misconducts? So the extent cannot be quantified. However, it is reported that the extent to which these misconducts occur is quite alarming. Answering the last question, how do we find out about the research misconduct? Firstly, we find out about research misconduct through plagiarism detection, peer review, attempts at reproducibility or replication of projects or researches, whistleblowing, data audits and monitoring, then also external checks. Oh, sorry, editorial checks. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, all the groups. Thank you for the list you have made. Okay. If you remember, the survey the Nature journal made, I showed last time, they went further to ask the researchers what factors contribute to irreproducible research. And here are some of the things that were reported on the left: selective reporting, pressure to publish, low statistical power or poor analysis, not replicated enough in original lab, insufficient oversight or mentoring, methods code unavailable, poor experimental design, raw data not available from original lab, fraud, insufficient peer review. All right, these factors. And then on the right, some data or results from some surveys that were done to really understand why researchers get involved in research misconduct. All right. So here is poor supervision. And this person is saying, I was scared to go to my PI. He used to scream and yell at me when things did not work as planned. So it is this fear that made this person to do things in the wrong way, even though he knew or she knew. Well, which one should I use? He or she? Okay. Even though he or she knew that it was wrong. Who is the culprit here? Who is the culprit? Or what is the culprit here? Do you get my question? What is the culprit here? Or who is the culprit here? Is anyone in the class?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Goodness, I
Both
thought I
the
was alone.
students and the supervisor.
With you, sir.
We are available. We are in class.
Okay.
We are just assimilating the lecture, sir.
So you are saying both the student and the supervisor,
Yes, sir.
both the student and the supervisor are contributors to this situation.
Yes, sir.
You know, that was a very good suggestion yesterday. So someone posted on the ASFI membership platform saying that ASFI should organize a course around supervision. I thought that was a very fantastic idea. How to supervise. You see, many people are assigned students to supervise, but they don't know what it means to supervise. They don't have the mandate of supervision. Because some of the things you have narrated since we started last week, it has been ringing a bell in my mind that some supervisors will go and take the work of the student to remove the name of the student, put their name and publish. And that's a pathetic scenario. And so when this person suggested this, this is, you see, so since yesterday I have been really thinking about it, that it is true. And I promise you, before the end of the year, we will offer a course on how to supervise. How to supervise. There are skills to supervise. There are expectations of supervision. There are ways to do it and do it right. And this student who is here is saying, I am scared of my supervisor. I'm scared of failure. I'm scared of what he will say. I'm scared of what she will do, because he screams. He screams. You know, there's something that happens in this part of the world. And that is what everybody is used to. You see, you can't carry personal issues to the workplace, especially those who take care of children at school. So you can't take, okay, you and your husband had issues at home, or something happened between your friend, or whatever happened, then you take it to the workplace and somebody's talking to you, you're making your face, you're angry. No, you see, as you enter that door, it should be kept out. Sometimes supervisors are controlled by the background noise, the things that they are facing, and they bring it to the supervision table. Supervision is an art. As a course, we have the art of scientific publishing. We also have another course, Art of Science Leadership. Supervision is an art and needs to be learned. It needs to be learned how to supervise, how to make that relationship cordial, how to go to meet expectations. You see, in the supervision table, the supervisor leads, the student learns, but the supervisor also learns. You learn to improve. You learn to become a better person. So this person here is within a poor supervisory environment, a poor supervisory environment, and that causes this person to get involved in things that will jeopardize that process. How you jeopardize that process. Okay. The second thing is inadequate training. After 2 years of a postdoctoral fellowship, I still don't know how to properly publish Western blot data. Can you understand that? This is a specific skill in this field. But inadequate training is an issue that cuts across. Some of the groups have mentioned here capacity building. You see, some of you may be hearing what we are teaching in this course for the first time, reproducibility. Is that the case? Do you have anyone here who is hearing this for the first time, reproducibility? You can just type on the chat box here. For the first time. For the first time. All right, it's only one person. How many are we in this class? We are 133 now. Okay. 2 persons. All right. All right. So what is happening there is that, you see, if you don't know the rule, if you don't have the capacity, if you don't know about many of these things, there is a likelihood that you may do it wrongly. Perhaps not intentionally, but because there is inadequate training. Competitive pressures. I felt it was necessary to get a paper in a high-profile journal in order to get a faculty position. And you mentioned that as well. Ambition, expectation. Oh, I have published in, how did they say it? In high impact, is it 5-star, whatever?
Q1.
Q1. I don't even know what they mean. Some of you are so expert in Q1, Q2, Q3. I don't know what they mean. I don't even care what they mean. I don't care what they mean. And that is why I will invite you, if you want to think less of that and do a proper work. The next course we have, I think, not the next course. The next course we have is systematic review. The next one after that is quality, productivity, impact. To design, how to think of impact in your research, at the same time, achieve productivity. How to think about quality, at the same time, achieve high productivity. Join that course. It's ASFI cheapest course you can have. Is it? How much for ASFI members? Is it $10? Yeah, $10? Goodness me. That will not even be enough for you in Chicken Republic. For those from Nigeria. $10 will not be enough. And some of you go there maybe every weekend to enjoy and Chicken Republic. So come and get skills.
Like that too.
What?
I say it's no longer like that though. $10.
Not anymore in Nigeria, sir.
100,000 naira.
Have they moved away from Nigeria?
Things have
They
changed.
haven't moved away, but people cannot afford that. People can no longer afford it.
It's more expensive.
1,350.
I say it's more expensive to eat in Chicken Republic.
A dollar is 1,350. A dollar is 1,350
Does
naira.
that
as we
stop you
speak.
from eating at Chicken Republic?
Yes,
No,
sir. They
Prince
cannot
Victor,
afford
we
it.
prefer to cook at home now.
No problem. Cook at home and
No, you
cook
are
at
wrong.
home.
A
Cook
dollar
at
in
home
Nigeria
and come
is
to the course.
1,400.
Cook at home and then use the remaining money to come to a course that will build you. That's what I'm saying.
We contribute. May God help us.
Yes.
We are on contribution.
All right. The second one, the next one is personal circumstances. I had been applying for a green card and felt pressure to make a good paper and get good publications. Can you see that? In Nigeria, they call it japa, isn't it? When you fly like a spirit into the thin air and you land yourself in somewhere there. As far as you leave the shores of the country, it doesn't matter where you land. And so somebody is in the US, he wants to get a green card, and you are a professional, a scientist, and you need to show evidence of what you're doing. And then what you do is to fabricate, because you need to have a good pen. That is this person's circumstance. And finally, individual psychology. Half of me wanted to make my PI proud. The other half was terrified of failing. So I fabricated a piece of data. The experiences can go on and on and on and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. But you see, the effect it will have, as we saw last week, is huge and tremendous. It's huge and tremendous. These are the things that are happening. Okay? And so, in 2017, a group led by John Yanendis wrote what they call a manifesto for reproducible science. And some of the things we'll be discussing today, we go around here. This is the scientific research process. All right? Generate and specify your hypothesis, design the study, conduct the study, analyze the data, interpret the data, and publish it. Much of the things that happen that lead to irreproducible research happens around here. You see, people are working with a study question or a hypothesis, and they move around the circle, conduct the study, and perhaps they have not confirmed their hypothesis. They analyze the result is giving them something else, and then they refine their study question based on what they have found from the analysis. Call it hacking. P-hacking, hypothesizing after the results are known. So in all these things that we have discussed now, what can be done? What can we do? And that is the main question we actually need to address. What can be done? What can be done? And here you have Rusa. I think that is one of the nuggets you have. Not every paper needs to be medically relevant. All right, you can change the medically to other fields as well, but they should all be reproducible. Baker says reproducibility is like brushing your teeth. Once you learn it, it becomes a habit. I promise you, next week I have 3 of my PhD students who will come to give us insight of what they are doing. You see, the story of this student, and of course, those who are working within my group, is really encouraging story. That people come and they know nothing about what they are getting into. And after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years they are finished, they look back and they say, this is a good journey I have taken. And I'm proud to have them. So next week, they will tell us, you see, what Becca is saying here is so true. Reproducibility is like brushing your teeth. Once you learn it, it becomes a habit. I was in the bathroom with my daughter, I think 3 days ago, and she was brushing her teeth. She said she needed a mirror. Why do you need the mirror to brush your teeth? She said, so that I can see. Oh, so do you mean you can't feel it? You can't. And I was asking, how do the blind people brush? And then she was looking at me. She was thinking about it. And then she looked at the mirror. She didn't need the mirror. She moved away from the mirror. Because that was something that caught her mind. Oh, it's like brushing your teeth. When you know how to do it, it becomes a habit. You don't need the mirror to brush the teeth. Because you have done it for ages and ages and ages and ages. It becomes a habit. Well, sometimes the habit can be even bad that you are brushing and not brushing it properly. It becomes a casual thing because you are just used to it. Okay, I will send it out again. Let's get into work. What, in your opinion, can be done to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct and irreproducible research? You have to do another work again. All right, you have to do it. Discuss and make a list of potential interventions within your group. Rank the interventions in order of their importance. What about Africa? Which of the listed interventions are specific and urgent for Africa? So please, I will also put this now on the WhatsApp. You can see it on the WhatsApp. You can take a picture of this, and I will open the room. Open the room and send you out to your breakout sessions now. Okay, the room is opened, so please join your room, your groups, and I'll bring it back in the next half an hour. All right, I guess everyone is here now. Group number 1, please, snappy, let us know what you have. Do it
Thank
fast.
you very much, Prof. So a list of potential interventions for research misconduct and irreproducible research. So we listed them in order of importance. So number 1, continuous training of students and faculty in research misconduct. Number 2, incorporate research ethics in the research curriculum. A good and cordial student-supervisor relationship. We should enhance peer review procedures. Number 5, peer review training. Number 6, open and transparent peer review practices. Another one is good monitoring and evaluation. We should also encourage teamwork and have good guidelines for research practice. Appropriate statistical methods and good sample sizes. And we should also make sure that there are functional ethical committees in institutions. And lastly, we said we should endeavor to raise funds for research before we start on research. What about Africa? Which of the listed interventions are specific and urgent for Africa? So we thought number 1 is good and cordial student-supervisor relationship. Number 2, continuous training for staff and students and research misconduct, functional ethics committees, and ensure that there is ethical clearance before publication, good and proper peer review, less tedious research grant processes, less emphasis on publish or perish, and we should emphasize on quality. And lastly, encourage collaborations with other sciences and institutions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, group number 1. Group number 2, please raise your hand. And just to mention, to be frank with you, it looks like some people just come to fill the attendance and they run away. Well, maybe I'm not getting it. So please don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. All right? It's very easy to cheat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Okay, group number 2.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Group
Good
2,
evening.
I'll be taking you through the points that we discussed. So to answer the first question, what can be done to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct? Firstly, it's the cordial mentor-mentee relationship and platforms. And here we talked about having formal mentorship programs. Secondly, we talked about sanctions for culprit. This means that we need to ensure necessary repercussions for any research misconduct, be it at any level, even if it's at a senior level. Thirdly, we talked about adequate training, and this includes institutional, national courses, or even Pan-African courses on reproducibility, like the one we are currently partaking in. Also trainings on plagiarism, research ethics, and research methodology. Fourthly, we talked about the need for adequate funding. So we need to ensure sufficient funds are allocated in a proportionate manner. And then we demand accountability for the assigned funds. Fifth, we talked about the rigorous peer review process. And this will ensure that any research misconduct is identified earlier on before publication, and then redemption can be sought. We also discussed the need for proper supervision, and this is at all stages of research, from the very beginning until publication. There's also a need for strict authorship policy, so there should be clearly outlined policies ensuring that the authorship correlates with the amount contributed. And then we talked about focusing on quality rather than quantity. And this needs to be ingrained into the minds of young researchers, and they should be constantly reassured that in order to progress in the field of academia and research, we require good quality publications and not just more. Also, we need to use technology to detect plagiarism, softwares like Turnitin. And then we have the discourage, publish, or perish mentality. And again, this needs to be particularly highlighted to young scientists. We also talked about declaration of conflict of interests. So any conflict that may possibly arise due to funding or any other reason should be clearly highlighted. And finally, we talked about the effective ethical review process, and this is crucial at an earlier stage in the process of research so that we ensure researchers abide by the required guidelines. So this was general, and then when it came to specifically within Africa, we talked about I won't explain each of them. I'll just list them because I already explained earlier. We talked about adequate training, proper supervision, cordial mentor-mentee relationships and platforms, rigorous peer review processes, adequate funding, sanctions for the culprits, and discourage the publish or perish mentality. Thank you.
Thank you. Group number 2. Yeah, group number 3. All right, go ahead.
I'll be presenting for group 3. And for the first question, what in our opinion can be done to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct and irreproducible research? We highlighted 8 points, and I'll present them in the order in which we ranked them. First, we have education and training. Secondly, enforcement of research ethics. Third, promotion of funding. Then we have the fourth position, credible peer review. So we have also independent data verification, then checking plagiarism. Number 7, collaboration among African researchers. And number 8, which is the last but not necessarily the least, integrity on the part of researchers. So talking about Africa specifically, and from our list, we picked out 2, which we deemed as specific and very urgent for Africa. And the first there was enforcement of research ethics, because if all other parameters are in place and the ethics are not adhered to or not followed as it should, then the issue of irreproducibility may still ensue. Then the other one is funding. So we believe that if these 2 are urgently emphasized, of course, we can step up the research game in Africa. So that's it for group 3. Thank you.
All right. Group number 4.
Thank you very much, and good evening once again. For group number 4, Mr. Ogbari is my name. We talked about how to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct and irreproducible research, and then we picked on some points. First of all, we said there's a need for education and training, adequate education and training, the need to educate on what research misconduct is and how to avoid it. And we also deliberated on the consequences that should be made clear to persons, the need for consequence of research misconduct. And then we said there's a need for adequate funding for research to be funded adequately, and activation of the role of research and ethics committee, as well as institutional research integrity offices to be instituted. And then there's a need for institutional support. And furthermore, we also talked about the need for transparency in authorships, peer review, and data sharing. We also felicitated on the need to improve facilities that aid research activities as it relates to infrastructure. And then there's the need for standardization and reliable laboratory support, for good documentation as well, collaboration and communication of whatever has been done. And then there's a need to report and address misconduct issues. And when we look at which of these interventions are specific and urgent for Africa, we said there's a need for funding. We cannot oversize the place of funding, adequate funding. And then research should be open. There should be open science practice as regards the issues of research. And institutional support is needed in terms of partnership, and research integrity cannot be overemphasized. And then there should be continuous ideological orientation, because the mindset, the mentality of persons is paramount to what they do. And as well as we should also have effective supervision and mentorship. This will aid the proper conduct of research issues in Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Group number 5.
For group number five, Ego Fayomi. I'm representing my group 5. So for group 5, we discussed and we came with the conclusion that adequate funding is very vital. Then we also talked about proper and thorough supervision. Then we talked about personal human capacity building, improving on yourself. We talked about proper research policy being put in place by institutions. Then we also said proper supervision and willingness of the supervisees to be supervised. We also discussed mentorship by supervisors. So not just being a supervisor now, you should be willing to mentor your supervisees, and your supervisees should also be willing to be mentored. So we also talked about sensitization on misconduct and its consequences, the negative impact that misconduct on research can have in the society at large. Then we spoke about integrity. So these were in the template in which we ranked them. Then for Africa, we said funding is very vital because we have the problem of funding in Africa where researchers are made to fund themselves. And this makes them concentrate on other aspects instead of devoting all their time and resources to the research itself. Then we also talked about training. Training is very important. Training should be given to researchers through workshops, webinars, and the likes of what we're having today. And these trainings are meant to improve our skills to be better researchers. And also this training should be made affordable so that a lot of people can participate. Then we talked about proper research policies in the institutions. So when we have research policies, this will help the researchers know that there is existing guidelines and procedures that they have to go through and the consequences of not complying to the policies in place. Then we have proper supervision and willingness of supervisors to be supervised, like we stated earlier. Then we have sensitization. People should be consistently sensitized on the misconduct concept. They should understand what misconduct means and in research and the consequences it will have at large. And most importantly, we have integrity. So this is how we felt it imparts the aspects for Africa that needs to be looked at. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Training should be affordable. Training should be affordable. That is one of the key highlights. And I think the training you are undergoing is really, really affordable. All right, group number 6.
Okay. For group number 6, I am Patricia Kwetei. Okay, we put our heads together and thought that in order to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct and irreproducibility, we should, in order of priority, we thought it would be good to prioritize research. That is, agencies and the state should make scientists know how important research is and do whatever they can do to make them get into serious research without fraud. And number 2, we looked at mentorship. There's a need to mentor those who are coming new into the field, young scientists, because many get into research without having any knowledge of what doing research that produce good results is all about. So there's need for that mentorship. And then number 3, we talked of stringent peer review processes. This should be taken very seriously because this is one of the ways in which this fraud can be checked. And then the 4th point is plagiarism checks. There's need for that so that cooked data don't get published. And the last point is motivation. That is, agencies and states and institutions should create enabling environments for people to work. For instance, maybe laboratories that are subsidized so that if researchers, scientists have to pay for their data to be analyzed, it should be at an affordable fee. And then coming to Africa, the points that we think are urgent. We think prioritization of research. is key to making us do research that will have good results. And then mentorship. If we are well mentored, we'll not get into fraudulent research, we'll not get into misconduct. And then if the environment for research is good enough, is conducive, then we'll be able to carry out research that can be reproducible. That is all we gathered as team members of Group 6. Thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you. Group number 7. Is group number 7 here? Want us to skip you? All right. Group number 8, please. Group number 7 is missing in action.
Okay, thank you very much. As group number 8, we discussed and made a list of what can be done to ameliorate the problem of research misconduct and irreproducibility research. So ranking them in order, the first one was mentoring and supervising students and technicians through regular trainings in research ethics and responsible conduct of research. The second was establishment of institutional review boards and committees which would improve research oversight. The third one was not only interdisciplinary collaboration, but rather international and global collaboration to ensure a standardized research or monitoring of research methodologies and outcomes. The fourth one is proper interactions, discussions on the interactions and discussions on the materials, research methods, and expected results through research authors before the commencement of the researches. Look, the fifth one was in consideration of the resource-limited nature of the African context, in which we advocate for open access to research data to facilitate local researches. The sixth one is transparency in reporting methods, data, and results to facilitate for reproducibility. The seventh one is increase the positive research culture to prioritize ethical behavior and pursue knowledge. The eighth one was standardization of publication. The final one was a robust peer review committee. In the African context, what we decided as Group 8 was important was firstly an interdisciplinary collaboration, which could extend to international and maybe even intercontinental collaboration in research. The second one was proper interaction and discussion on materials, methods, and expected results by research authors before the commencement of researches. The third one was advocating for open access to research data. The fifth one was mentoring and supervising students and technicians through regular trainings in research ethics and responsible conduct of research. The fifth one is improving or encouraging a positive research culture that prioritizes ethical behavior and pursuit of knowledge. And the final one was a standardization of publications. I submit.
All right. Group number 7, I will give you 30 seconds because you took your time. Please just speak quickly.
Okay, so sorry for that, sir. Okay, in our group, we enlisted potential intervention to research misconduct as one, encourage open science practice. Then number 2, to foster a culture of collaboration among researchers. Next, we have adequate funding for research, because we found out that the lack of funding is one of the major reasons, for this misconduct. Next, we have a cordial relationship between students and supervisor. Next, we have establishment of research integrity offices. That's the ethics committee that will look into it, and then a discipline defaulters. We also have a training and mentorship of researchers, both the students and the supervisors. And about Africa, we wrote out that the most important thing in Africa is training and mentorship, because some researchers don't really understand what is needed of them. And next, we have adequate funding. Then establishment of integrity offices that will monitor and penalize defaulters. We are sorry that we missed out when it was our time. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Thank you, all the groups, for that. For the input you have made. Please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Mute yourself if you are not speaking, please. Just mute yourself. Okay. All right. Yeah, a number of things that needed to be covered this today. But it was good to send you out to make these discussions, and the point you have listed really have really covered most of the things we will do. So I think what we have today we extend to next week. So let me just, because our time is fast spent, let me see how far we can go. And group number 4, please get ready for your nugget. Get ready for your nugget. Just to let you know, one of the things you have mentioned, and I hope that as a people, as Africans, okay, because most of us here are Africans. I know there are other people from other places who have joined us, but speaking to most of us who are Africans, one of the things you mentioned, and this cut across the groups as potential solution, is training. Is training. All right, and you know, you have formal and informal training. You have unconscious training. All right. Sometimes you sit in seminars, you sit in workshops. It's not a formal education you're getting, but you know, hearing the things you hear, they have a way to become part of you. The more you hear, the more it becomes part of you. The more you reflect on them, the more you begin to make use of them. That is why in ASFI, it's not only courses we organize, all right? Since we started, we have been running what we call the science seminar series. And these are forums where sometimes we have panel discussions. Sometimes we invite speakers to speak on certain topics, and so on and so forth. All right. And these sessions have been very important part of our programs for transformation. So this year, we are working on the theme Innovation in Research, Africa's Panacea. All right. So some of the things you have mentioned, that there's inadequate training. People don't know the relevance of their research. Okay, they just do it because it's part of the things they need to do to fulfill the requirement. But here in this year, we are taking a journey that want to tell a story of how you can think about innovation in your research. And we're starting from this month, 28th of January. We are starting on the topic Innovation Research. What is it? Okay, we have Professor Frederick Atoama, who will be speaking to us from the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. He was the former director of the Directorate of Research, Innovation, and the Consultancy at the University of Cape Coast, and he's the Ghana's representative in science, technology, and innovation in ECOWAS Commission. He'll be talking to us on that day. We have sent out links for registration, and it would be great that you can register and join these conversations. You see, we are talking about transformation. We are talking about transformation. This is free. The course you're attending is free. The seminars are free. And I tell you, by the time you go through this year, exposing yourself to this knowledge and tools, you begin to see your perspective will begin to change towards an excellent direction. I've had conversation with some of those who have joined us from the beginning and they have remained there. I want to ask them, why haven't you stopped coming or left? And one of the things that come is, where do I go? Where do I go? You know, I can't see a good product and I just abandon it. This is what I need. This is what when I'm in the midst of ASFI, there is a propelling for excellence I strive for. All right. And if I stay away because of other activities, after some time I begin to drift. You know, it's like a backsliding person from the church. All right. So stay with us. This is one thing we working on this year. So if you have not registered, please take the link, register. Feel free to circulate this to your group, to your networks, to your colleagues. Encourage them. All right. And then we'll have Dr. Wan's research tips and tricks. We are going, this is the 22nd edition. We have been going through this. If you have not been conversant with this, go to our YouTube channel. We discuss different types of topics. But this year we're also on a journey. We're looking at scientists' success virtues. Okay, there are some virtues that are beyond the pen. There are some virtues that are beyond the classroom, that are virtues that scientists need to wear to do well, to become better. Okay? And some of those virtues we'll be going through this year. We're starting with the first edition. Who is a scientist? Who is a scientist? This is an important question. And many people don't know. Even though they are there, they don't know. Who is a scientist? That is what we'll be discussing in the first edition. The tips and tricks come last Friday of every month. The seminar series I just mentioned before now come at the last Sunday of every month. All right, the semantic reviews and meta-analysis course registration is ongoing. And I hope you can take advantage. This year is different. Last year, those who attended paid 60% more than what those who will be attending this year. This course is a life-changing course. In fact, every ASFI course is a life-changing course. And this one, when you go through this one, you come out, you'll be refined, you'll be touched. The things that will happen in you when you attend the systematic reviews and meta-analysis course. And I hope I have a witness even on this course here. Yeah, this is a course I would recommend if you can take the pen. Those who are now retired from Chicken Republic, you can invest in this. Invest in this and you will not regret it. We have given very judicious discounts. Whether you are ASFI member, you have discounts. Whether you are a non-ASFI member, you also have the group discounts. Take advantage of them and equip yourself. Make yourself better. Make yourself competitive. Expand your horizon. All right. And when you expand your horizon, your impact will increase. All right. Speaking about the discounts. Okay. And yes, where is my, okay, there is another course. I have to check it. Let me see where I have that. The other course, where do I have that? Do I have it here? If I don't have it here, okay, it looks like I don't have it here. And that is the quality, productivity, and impact course. So please, if you have not attended that course, it's another course that you should not miss. You should not miss. That is our low cost cost. And then you can see that being an ASFI member gives you lots of benefits. Please endeavor to register as a member. It will help you to get very good discount on those courses, and then you can attend them. The information about that, I think we put also on the platform. All right, group number 4, tell us what you have in your market before
Okay.
we call it a night.
I will present for group 4. I'm Dr. Shaima Papers. And can I share the presentation?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Is it shown now?
Yeah, you're sharing with your phone?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we are going to talk about peer review system is broken. Actually, we were talking about the bad side of peer review. So we will do introduction, general description of peer review, and the challenges of peer review, then refining the peer review system. Peer review process is a cornerstone in modern scholarship. Any work is published should be peer reviewed. Actually, in the international journals, they ask for blinded 2 peer reviews. However, many authors, reviewers, and editors have concerns about the way peer review is done. It can be slow, opaque. It is based on volunteer, so it can be not the way we want, because it is not a job we do all the time. Peer review is a process used in scholarly publishing to ensure the quality, validity, and the credibility of academic work before it is published. It involves subjecting a manuscript or research paper to evaluation by experts or peers in the same field. The primary purpose is to provide feedback, assess rigors of the research, identify any potential flaws or weakness in the study. The challenges are peer review can be exploitative. Many of the companies that publish academic journals make a profit from subscription sales. However, authors, editors, peer reviewers are generally not giving anything. They are only giving time and effort on voluntary basis. Inability to assess real world impact. Traditional peer review don't adequately measure the real world impact or relevance of research. Other challenges include bias and subjectivity. Reviewers may bring personal bias or subjective judgment into their evaluation process. and there could be lack of standardization, no uniform standard across different journals and disciplines, and there is always reviewers' workload, time constraints, difficulty in detecting misconduct. Peer review may not be able to effectively detect misconduct as data fabrication or plagiarism, and it could be well hidden. Potential for author misconduct, there is a risk of author engaging in unethical practices, such as citation manipulation or choosing friendly reviewers, and it happens. Inefficiently and delays happens all the time, and the resistance to innovation is one of the constraints that can happen due to resistance to adapting new or innovative review models. How to overcome that? By transparency, openness, review and training, addressing misconduct by developing mechanism to identify and address research misconduct, post-publication review. It can be considered in incorporating post-publication review mechanisms, and diversity in reviewers, recognizing and rewards the reviewers for their efforts, and the continuous evaluation and improvement with using of technology. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, group number 4, for your nuggets. Group number 3 and number 4, please share your nuggets with the WhatsApp platform. All right, colleagues, I think I have to release you so that you can go home. And then we will meet next week. I made a mistake when I said my PhD students are coming next week. It's not next week, it's on the 3rd of February. So next week our class will continue. And next week there is really an exciting session we'll be having. We'll be sending more information during the week. So please don't miss it. We have what I call the great debate. The great debate. There will be lots of debates next week. So get ready for that. We'll send more information during the week. But I encourage you, please begin to work hard in your groups. Next week we will cover some of the things we did not cover today. Have a good night and a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Everybody.
night.
Next
Safe
week.
trip.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Good night.
Thank you,
Bye.
Doc. Thank you, everybody. Good night and great weekend.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Night.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody. God
God
bless you.
bless.
We got the
Good
family.
night. Everybody, good night.
Good
It
night
was a
and
nice
enjoy your
session.
weekend, everybody. Thank you,
Thank
Prof.
you.
Thank you. Good
Thank you
night.
all. Stay blessed.